based on my research, I know that by 2021, 90% of all web traffic will be through video. So I think if anyone's not looking at how to use video as a tool in their business, it's a huge mistake.
This is The Fighting Entrepreneur, the podcast dedicated to entrepreneurs looking to change the world. Learn how to start, build, and scale a business in today's highly competitive business environment. Here's your host, The Fighting Entrepreneur, Anik Singal.
What's up, you crazy fighting entrepreneurs? Guess who it is? Your favorite person in the whole wide world, Anik Singal, back with another Fighting Entrepreneur episode. I'm super excited about today's because today I'm going to be interviewing someone I go way back with. All right, and I met her back in Malaysia, of all the places, in Kuala Lumpur. And I mean, we're talking, I don't know, 10 years ago, 10 years ago. And since then, we've stayed in touch, and I've seen her do some killer things. And so the topic at hand today is, I was knocked off of my chair, almost literally, a couple months ago when I checked her YouTube channel. And I had seen her launch her YouTube channel 11 months ago, and it was, I can attest to this, it was from scratch, fresh, right? Like 0 subscribers. And I checked a couple of months ago, just randomly, I see something. She's got at this moment that we're recording this, over 18,000 subscribers. At that time, she had like 15,000. So, of course, 15,000 new subscribers on a new channel on YouTube, that's quite the feat. But here's where it got more interesting. All of her videos seem to have 1,000 plus views. Some have 2,000, 4,000. One of them has over 100,000. We're going to ask her about that. And if you look at the ratio, she's kicking my butt on my channel. So she's got something she knows that's way, way more than mine. So the title of this episode is How She Gets 1,000 Plus YouTube Videos in a Very Specific Niche. All right. And so we're going to go through her whole schedule, her whole, how she puts things out, what she does, and then, of course, how she monetizes it. But before I get started with that and before I bring Alex on, are you a member of Lurn Nation? Come on. What are you doing? You got to head over to lurn.com right now. Okay, it's absolutely free. Join this revolution that we're creating of entrepreneurs coming together worldwide, because we entrepreneurs are the ones that are going to solve the world's problems, not the government. So this is what I built. I built a platform because my goal and my mission is to build an army of 10 million entrepreneurs all over the world, helping each other, basically learning, connecting, networking. We have so many features coming out at Lurn over the course of the next months. You're going to be blown away. We have 360,000 plus members right now. It's free to join. lurn.com. Go there, join, or else we're going to move right by you and you're not going to be a part of it. All right. So go get over there right now. Okay. The last piece I do want to say, anikpodcast.com, ANIK podcast.com. Go binge, not Netflix, binge The Fighting Entrepreneur, learn something. We have such amazing episodes with guests like Alex that just unveil everything, right? No fluff, no story, strategy, tactics, how do you apply? So go to anikpodcast.com and then, of course, leave us a great review at iTunes. We are trying to shoot up the rankings. So let's make it happen. Please get me up. I want to beat Gary Vee one of these days at some point. All right. So having said that, we have an amazing guest today. And, I always like to introduce my guests with personal story rather than their credentials. She's got lots of credentials, but I met her when she was working with Mindvalley a long time ago. And I was over there. I went to Singapore to speak. And then Mindvalley got a bus, this really cool luxury bus, and drove us over to Malaysia. So it's kind of like kidnapped. I didn't really have a choice. I was like, all right, we'll go. I had no idea what Mindvalley was. I had no idea who Vision was really at that time. But they took us, and I don't even remember. I think we did an event or spoke to their team. I don't remember. But there were like 2 or 3 people that I really connected with, of which one was Alex. And I think we ended up sitting together at dinner and we started chatting more. And since then, just kind of kept in touch. And ever since, obviously, she left Mindvalley. Now she's doing her own thing. She's doing big things. She also happens to live in one of my favorite cities in the whole wide world, which is Vancouver. So we've kept up. I've met her. We were just joking before we started recording. We haven't seen each other in years. So other than little messages here and there on Facebook. And she goes and creates one of my favorite Facebook groups, which is Travel Hacks for Entrepreneurs. That's like a obsession of mine, how to use points and travel and all of that. So I've been immersed in Alex world the last couple of months here, between binge watching her YouTube videos, being in the Facebook group. So I connected with her and said, you got to be on the show. And she was awesome enough to say yes. So Alex, thank you. I'm excited. I'm going to pick your brain though. We're going to get pretty detailed and I'm going to make you pour all your info out. So you ready for that?
I am so ready. And Anik, thank you so much for having me on this podcast. I'm just over the moon excited to be connecting with you again in like, internet real life after so long.
Even right now, we're still on a Zoom call here. So
I know, it's still more real though.
Oh, man. So, Alex, thanks again. We do have a tradition here at the Fighting Entrepreneur. So if you don't mind, if you'd raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Alex Cattoni.
I, Alex Cattoni.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
To tell the truth and nothing but the truth.
To tell the truth and nothing but the truth.
And reveal all my YouTube secrets.
And reveal all of my YouTube secrets.
Sweet. It's on the record. She can't.
It's on the record.
We don't want perjury now, so you gotta be honest. So, Alex, first of all, congratulations on all your success and just having watched everything you're doing. It's so fun. I think one of the things I love the most about you watching your success is you're just always smiling and having a good old time and being goofy and being fun. And I think some of us, myself included, sometimes get a little too serious in our entrepreneurship journey. And we forget that it's about the journey and not about the destination. And I really feel like if someone follows you on social media, you encapsulate that. They'll see that.
Thank you.
Recently, Alex, you're welcome. So recently, I started about a year ago. It'd be right around your time, actually, that I was like, I'm going to double down and I'm going to do YouTube and it's going to be awesome. So I interviewed Dan Locke and had him on. It was great training. Yeah. And we started doing YouTube last year, a video a day. But the thing was, I didn't have time to do a video a day. So we were chopping things from my old content and it's done well. I mean, we added 25,000 or more subscribers. My video views, I'll get like 400 to 1,000 per view with about 52,000 subscribers. You kick my butt, you get 1,000, 2,000, 4,000 views on 18,000 subscribers. So obviously you're doing something way better than I am. Now at the end of the year, I made a video. So for anyone who hasn't watched this podcast, go back and the video's titled, "Was YouTube Worth It?" Right? Is organic YouTube worth it? For me, I think last year I learned a ton. It was worth it because of what I learned, but it didn't give me the results that I had looked for or that I had hoped for. And when I went back and really analyzed, I got on the phone with some YouTube people and I realized there are really 3 types of channels you can have. And this is all credit to Fred Lamb. He really walked me through this. You can have what you call like an entertainment channel, right? And so these are the vloggers that love to do the jump cuts and, I don't know, they jump off of cliffs and film themselves and it's fun. And that's great. And I even watch some of those people. So it's entertainment and you build up this huge audience because you do fun stuff. Number 2 is I call it the inspirational motivational channel. So it's more the Dan Locke style of channel where you make these generic mainstream mass media videos on certain topics and you do very list type of things, 4 ways of, 3 ways of, and you hit whatever topic is kind of hot right now and you talk about it and that drives a lot of views. But it gets a little bit more generic views, not specific. And that's what I tried in 2019. And I don't know, doesn't really get me excited. Just doesn't feel like my style. Definitely the entertainment one wasn't my style. Then the third style that Fred does himself more and that he brought up was the content style, where you make meatier videos, 8, 9, 10, 12 minutes, and you get deep into a very specific content. And this is the one that started to really resonate with me. One thing I love about it, and its proof is in the pudding on your channel, is that once you make this video, it seems to have a long shelf life. Because it's content, people will watch it for a long time. Versus if I made a video about the Tesla truck when it launched, that's it. It's I'll get a lot of views right then, but then it's gone. Like no one cares a week later. And that's your channel is about copywriting. And copywriting I love copywriting. So disclaimer, everyone knows I love copywriting. I'm a nerd.
Me too.
I geek out on it. So Alex and I both, we could probably hang out and have drinks and just talk copywriting. And it would be like the best time of our lives. But I realize I'm weird. All right. Like I realize like that's strange. That's not normal human behavior. And so, but I grew up and that's what I credit all my success to. As a matter of fact, that's why I'm launching something called Conversion Academy this year, which I've been dreaming of for years, which is going to be a whole community of conversion experts, copywriting experts, and funnel experts. And that's who I want to be. I love opt-in pages. I love email businesses, but I don't want to be that guy forever. But I love psychology. I love consumer psychology. And so I was already thinking like, man, copywriting is the place for Anik. And so now I start to kind of stalk Alex on YouTube and I'm like, man, she's dialed it in. I got to like do what she's doing. So Alex, you're getting so many views in let's just face it, a very specific niche. It's not mainstream at all. And so that is why I have you on today is I want to learn about what you're doing, how it's working and how you're monetizing it and how you're growing it. And with full disclaimer, I'm going to copy everything you talk about today. I am going to
Sounds
use
good.
every ounce of it. So let's go right into round number 1, Alex. I want to know the story, Alex. So round number 1, channel, copywriting. All of a sudden, 11 months ago, you wake up, you're like, I'm going to do a channel on copywriting. What, why, where, how?
Well, I think like a lot of entrepreneurs, we have sort of that quick start mentality. And similar to you, it sounds like I had started hearing a lot of people talk about YouTube. For example, at my mastermind Flight Club, we have a couple members actually, who just dominate YouTube, both organic and paid. And so I started hearing more people talk about it. I have really good friends that have massive channels. Sarah Crisp with Wholesale TED, Sunny Leonard Doozy. And I just found it, obviously, as a marketer, I'm like, this is a powerful platform and I'm not doing anything with it right now. So it was curiosity a lot, and also sort of seeing if I could figure it out, that reverse engineer, similar to what you're doing now. And I think the second reason really was less strategic. It was more of a personal mission to really put myself out there more. I've been working with high-level clients behind the scenes for years, ever since I left Mindvalley, and that really served the type of business I had at the time, which was I wanted to travel the world. I didn't want to have to commit to a regular content schedule that made me feel anxious. I wanted to be traveling the world, and as you said earlier, I'm a huge passion for travel, and but I really wanted to put myself out there. I've seen the way the industry is changing and how audiences are no longer tolerating people who are trying to stay behind the scenes and sell, just through, inauthentic copy, or trying to, stay behind an offer and not really try to build a business, a brand, a personality around it. And I thought, okay, I think this is the future. In fact, based on my research, I know that by 2021, 90% of all web traffic will be through video. So I think if anyone's not looking at how to use video as a tool in their business, it's a huge mistake. And also I wanted to have an authority engine for my agency. I've been working with clients, as I said, behind the scenes, and I get all of my business through referrals and through our network of entrepreneurs and business owners. And they all know and love me, but I really thought hey, if I have some YouTube content out there, that won't hurt to build up some authority. So that's why I did it. It wasn't necessarily a wake up one morning, I'm going to do it. I think I decided maybe at the end of 2018 that I was going to do it. And then of course, all of that normal shit that comes up with self-doubt and can I put myself on video, and can I do this? And I'm so used to being a copywriter behind the scenes, and I have to get my backdrop ready because I need to have the perfect backdrop. All those things kind of held me back, but I did officially launch my channel on February 13th last year. So I'm coming up on 1 year now. And so that's essentially why I decided to start it. The story, round 1.
So it was really to build up your authority and brand and kind of expert status so that it would better serve, or it would augment your existing business. Is that right? And were you writing copy, or are you writing copy for clients? Is that your business right now?
Yes, I am. I mean, that's been my biggest business for the last 8 years, essentially. So I have a copywriting agency, and I thought, okay, I wanted to scale my agency. I was bringing on more writers, and I wanted to be able to serve different clients, bigger clients. I sort of, felt that I was sort of outgrowing what I was doing in that particular moment, and thought, YouTube would be a great way to just build up that authority and step out, in front of people and not just be behind the scenes in everything I was doing.
Wow. No, I love that. So the monetization wasn't quite your initial goal. And that's great, because a lot of students who want to build up YouTube, if you come in with it, then that's how you're going to evaluate it, right? So if you come in and you're like, hey, listen, I just want to get my message out. If even 300 people watch the video, you're going to be super excited because 300 people heard your message. Versus if you're like, I want to make some money from this. Well, 300 views might not be enough to make money, and then you're going to get completely deflated. A lot of you will see, and I'm announcing this right now, so you'll see, I'm going to run a challenge in April for myself that I'm 95% committed to, not quite 100% yet. I'm having that moment that Alex was talking about where I'm like, do I really want to? Can I really do that? But on YouTube specifically, I'm going to just pour out content, and I'm going to track the monetization of that, and it's going to be all in the copywriting hemisphere. And So I'm going to try to put some real numbers behind this stuff for everybody to see. And I'm going to pin it up against podcasting. So I'm also going to go out and do a bunch of podcast guesting, and I'm going to see which one does what. I have so many questions, but I want to move right into round number 2 because I think we'll get to these questions as we go. All right, so round number 2, Alex, I'm going to jump straight to monetization because I know that for everyone watching, that is the interest. You're obviously now 18,000 subscribers. How many views? Can you give me some stats? Like, do you know any stats off your YouTube channel, like minutes watched, video views?
You know what? I am so bad with the analytics. I know that every video is different. Like you said, I have one video that's gotten over 100,000 views, and I'm able to track the performance of each video, compared to my average. And I do, as soon as I changed my strategy, which I'll obviously share with you, I noticed that numbers started going way up. I don't know how many views I have are in total at this moment, but I can look it up and send it to you if you want to share it in the show notes or whatever.
But I love that the most. She has no idea because it's not about that, right? She's just having fun making her YouTube videos. Yeah. So right now, I know you didn't start it with the goal of monetizing, but are you right now? Is there any monetization behind your channel? Has it helped put more money in your pocket?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's sort of crazy. Like you said, I didn't start it. I mean, I'm a marketer after all, so I was strategic in the sense that I wanted to start a YouTube channel as an authority engine, knowing, hey, if this will help me get more clients or be able to take on more strategy sessions, because every now and then I'll do copywriting strategy sessions with companies, then I thought, perfect, worth it. But then it was in about November 1st, I was able to actually turn on monetization through YouTube, which, I always hear about these like kids that want to grow up to be YouTubers. And I was like, really? What? You can actually make money from just creating these like entertainment style videos like you talked about earlier. And I turned on monetization and I've so it's been 3 months almost, November, December, January, since monetization was turned on. And I've made over $1,000 a month just completely passively from YouTube ads in front of my videos. So that's the bare minimum of monetization.
And you're doing one video a week right now, is that correct?
Just 1 week, a week, yeah.
Okay.
Just one. It sounds like so much, but I know there's people out there that do one a day, which crazy to me.
One could take some time. I mean, I do this podcast. I got up to 3 times a week, and I was like, okay. So we went back to one, and I love one. One is good.
I think one's good too.
Yeah. Okay. So $1,000 a month that you're earning just from YouTube. YouTube's just sending you a check. You have no idea. It's not your problem.
It literally gets like auto deposited into my account, and then I get a text message that's like, you just made $1,100. I'm like, sweet. I mean,
those are the best
income. That's what it's about. Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
So that's going to keep going up now, right? Because more videos you put up, more views are happening. Your channel's growing. I mean, that's obviously going to go up. And that's, like you said, totally 100% passive income. Robert Kiyosaki would be very proud of you. What else, though? Are you putting links in the videos? Are you building an email list? Are you getting client work? Anything else that can track back to these?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'd say when I first started, the direct response marketer in me was like, I need to do something with these views. I mean, I was giving free content. My first few videos, I'd like linked to Amazon books that I recommended, and of course using an Amazon affiliate link, all that. But then I thought, okay, I'm going to start using this to build a list. I had nothing to sell yet. So I started just creating, I mean, it was literally the simplest, like join my notification list. Like there wasn't even a lead magnet. It was just, hey, if you're interested in learning more, click the link below. And it took them to a landing page that was like, who wants to ignite their copywriting business this year? Enter your name and email address. And then, again, the direct response marketer in me would be like, well, you need to have a tripwire offer, but I didn't have anything to sell yet. So I actually put a type form survey on the thank you page where I just said, tell me what your biggest challenges are with copywriting, getting started. I had over 1,000 people complete that survey and basically use that data to create a coaching program for copywriters, an 8-week coaching program that actually opens tomorrow, the 29th. So, cool. So yeah, that'll be really my first big product launch, you could say. And then of course, my goal for after that is to turn it into an evergreen video course and have it available at any time to buy. And then the monetization through the products that I sell will be more consistent.
Any guesses at what you'll do Rough estimates, goals, anything you're willing to put out there?
I would be really, really happy with 70,000 in sales.
But so check this out, right? Like let's say 70,000, you divide that by 12, that works out to over about $5,000 a month. In addition, you add the 1,000. So it's like all of a sudden your YouTube channel is starting to become hugely profitable. And now this is done, right? You do and it's like so you're just going to keep putting it, tell people like, hey, if you want to check out my course, go to the URL in the description and click it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can add a redirect and we can talk about this, but with the videos that are really, picking up steam with getting a ton of views, you don't want to touch them. So don't go in and like edit the call to action, just redirect the link if the offer's changed. But this is the beautiful thing about YouTube monetization is I've gotten approached by so many companies that want to pay me to do video reviews. So that is a monetization strategy. I have said no to every single one of them because I'm a marketer and I know that I can do far more monetization on the back end with the leads and the interest in the community that I'm building than doing like a silly review for, I don't know, $500 or something like that, right? So, I mean, there's tons of different ways to monetize. I just know if you have the chops as a marketer, and if you get copywriting and conversion, which it sounds like a lot of your audience does, obviously, then I'm like super happy to monetize with my ads and then monetize off of YouTube and continue to just focus on creating high value, high integrity content week after week.
That's awesome. So here's what everyone who's listening, I want you to take away from, because I hear this from our students all the time. Anik, if I could just even make a few $100s a month, that would be a big deal for me. And typically a lot of students will say, well, I don't want to invest a lot of money. I don't have a lot of money to invest, which is in itself usually just drives me nuts because they're holding an iPhone and a Prada purse in their hands, but we're not going to go there. So even if you want to do it for free, I always say, look, business needs time or money. And if you have both, then you're in, but time or money. And what you can see is there's a very simple formula Alex is laying out in front of you, and we're going to keep going through it. And you could do this in any space. If it works in copywriting, imagine how many niches. I mean, get out of the marketing world. You could do this in any kind of space because she's monetizing first through ads. And that doesn't matter what for example, the other day, something broke around the house. I needed to fix it. It had nothing to do with internet marketing. So I pulled up this video, like this do-it-yourself at home fix video, and my own marketing video popped up in front of me. Right? So it's not like I'm bidding on that person's channel, but YouTube knows that I'm the target audience. So this is what's great. You could be there on any topic and YouTube will take care of, you just need to be consistent. And the problem is a lot of people want to do this and they don't want to wait. So they don't want to give it time. They don't want to give it money. So we're giving you a strategy right here that 100% is going to work. It's a statistically valid thing. It's a numbers game. She's posted for almost a year now, a video a week. Something's going to hit. Like it's just, especially if you're learning and looking at the data. So that's awesome. And now as she's getting a bigger audience, she's starting to do courses, and pretty soon I know she'll start to do bigger coaching programs. And all of a sudden it's going to turn into this massive place that's giving free monetization, doing what she really loves to do. Awesome. Well, I want to move into round number 3. And this is probably where I start to get the most intrigued and interested personally. All right, so round number 3, topic picking. When I first thought to myself about doing more copywriting training, right? So I thought for me, if I turn this into a consult session now, we have a Lurn channel and an Anik Singal channel. We've not done anything with the Lurn channel. That will revive up soon when we start publishing all of our authors and experts who we publish, allowing them to bring their videos to the Lurn channel. But right now I'm focused on the Anik Singal channel. So you look at the Anik Singal channel, yeah, I like inspiring people. I like motivating people, but it's not my cup of tea. If I'm standing next to Les Brown, Les Brown's the one talking. He's going to inspire people, not me. But I'm a good trainer. I love teaching digital marketing. I geek out on all things consumer psychology. So I asked myself, why don't we just turn the Anik Singal channel into a conversion channel where we talk about copywriting funnels and consumer psychology? Like, that's what you like. Talk about it. And the first thought Alex, I'm like, I'm going to run out of things to talk about. Like, totally, it's just one topic. So like, and so many people are out there thinking. And so that's my question for you is, how do you pick topics? Like, one a week is 52 videos a year. If you do this for 10 years, that's 520 videos of what the heck are you going to talk about?
Yeah, honestly, I had that same, call it a limiting belief, mental block, whatever. around that as well, because I thought, okay, I want to, at least before I start, plan out 2 months of content, and feel like I was prepared to, create those 8 videos, maybe even sit down and record a bunch in a batch kind of thing. And I kind of freaked out a little bit because I thought, well, what can I talk about? How many different video topics are there? And what I realized was, I just like you're talking, copywriting is such a niche demographic, or such a niche market. But I just started talking. The first 5, 6, 7, 8 videos were just topics that I was really interested in talking about, and anywhere in that kind of world of copywriting, but as specific as possible too, because you realize that the average, like you said, you Googled or YouTubed how to fix something. A lot of people are very specific with their YouTube searches. So my problem was when I first started, I wanted to say everything in one video. I wanted to give like a whole hour-long webinar training about this one thing, because it just kept opening up loops as I was talking. And so I just had to really get good at being like, okay, that could have been 3 separate videos. So some of my earlier videos are insane. Like they're like full-on courses. And then I started realizing that's too much for people, break it up a little bit. And so, really solving one key problem. I love to give frameworks like you had talked about earlier, and like Dan does. People learn well in frameworks, but it's all really targeted towards one specific need or issue that people are facing. And then what happened was, as I started building an audience, people would just ask. They would type in the comments and say, what about this? And what about that? And to this day, that's basically how I plan my content schedule. Is I take a screenshot and I send it to my team and I say, hey, we should do a video around this topic. And they put it into the YouTube calendar, and I'm always kind of operating at about, let's say, 5 videos ahead in terms of the topics I have planned. And so my community feedback just really feeds that.
And so that's really interesting. You also mentioned like you did this survey, and as soon as you mentioned that, my head went, whoa, that would be, and because you're picking all these topics that people are struggling with, do you prone from that too? Because I feel like there'd probably be a lot of topics there.
Yeah, in fact, as sort of a market test, I guess you could say, for my program launch, I did a video that was fully targeted towards the #1 challenge that people in the survey said, by a long shot. And I thought, okay, I'm gonna do a video on this topic and just see how it does, because that'll make me pretty confident that this is definitely the angle I want to take with my coaching program. And I think in like a week, I had over 10,000 views on it.
Wow.
It just took off. And that's not the video that has over 100,000 views, but the one that has over 100,000 views is a very similar topic. So you'll find that, and this is, I think, the most interesting thing about YouTube is that it's incredibly intuitive. Even if you don't do all the SEO keyword stuff, YouTube knows what your video is about, and it looks at who's engaging with your video and the engagement rate, the subscription to view rate, all of that, to decide, okay, should I show this to more similar people that like this? And so what happens is, and this was totally not strategically, I was planning out all these topics, and a few people started asking me some questions. And so I did a video that was sort of a little bit of a zag from my normal zig, you could say. And that video took off, and I realized that you'll just have a video that pops from the engagement, something you've done in the video. And I wish there was a way to I've tried to reverse engineer that video, and I've tried to do it with other people too. And I think it is somewhat of a formula, but it's also just hitting a topic that resonates. And all of a sudden my whole channel became, a subsection of the audience that viewed that one video mostly. Because it has over 100,000 views. And that's been what's fed most of my growth through my other videos.
I hear that a lot from people. They'll say that when you get on a regular schedule, there will be one video that just takes off, 1 or 2 or 3, and they will end up, it's like the 80-20, 90-10 rule, or whatever you want to call it. It'll end up driving most of your success, but then obviously people are getting aware of you, and they're getting into your circle.
Totally.
And that's a great way to obviously start to build your channel, and then they're more aware of you. So,
and you can't get attached to any topics too, because I've done videos where I'm like, this is so good. Like, I think it's the most amazing topic, and I think everyone's going to be like, Alex, you're amazing. And I get like a couple unsubscribes from it, and I'm like, what is going on? And so honestly, like, you just have to sort of bow down to the YouTube gods and be like, all right, the market is telling me what it wants. And I think a lot of the time having success on YouTube does need to start with casting a broader net, but then whittling it down. Like I've really sort of started playing around with this idea of having a YouTube funnel, so to speak, where, this one video that gets the most of my views is actually my most general videos, but it's because it targets a wider audience. And then in that video, and this just sort of happened by chance, but I think once you sort of look at it and take a step back, you could probably see this with any channel. You could go look at all these top channels in your niche that you wanted to do a YouTube channel on, filter their videos based on most popular so that you can see with pretty good certainty what that money video is for them, see what the topic is and how that relates to their other videos. Because chances are it's broader, and then you can, traffic control. And the people who are super interested in learning more copywriting from me will then subscribe, and then they'll go check out my other videos. And then I kind of do a mix of content between super specific training, like very, very, conversion copywriting, psychology stuff, like you talked about earlier. And then I do maybe 2 out of every 5 videos is more of that broader interest, to get more people sort of eyeballs on my channel.
Wow. All right, love it. So do you do anything with keyword research? Do you even care? Like, do you go in there and try to pick keywords?
I cared about it in the beginning because people talk about it. And I think that was a really good way to start. Like, let's say to get from 0 to 500 subscribers, when you don't have an audience to allow YouTube to gauge your engagement. I did follow all the SEO rules. And then honestly, I started hating it because I'm not a keyword. I'm a creative. I'm a marketer. Yeah. I love reading about psychology, and I don't like doing keyword research. And when you do keyword research, you realize that the keywords are like copywriting for beginners, copywriting tips. And you're like, how am I supposed to come up with a different video to like what? Yeah. And so I'm not saying don't use SEO, because I actually really think that as a way to get started, when you don't have an audience, you need to get eyeballs somehow. And so if you can do videos with keywords to rank in the search bar or the search page in YouTube, and use that as a way to garner your first sort of foundational level of followers. But then what happens is your YouTube will decide to show your videos to more people if the engagement rate with your existing subscribers is really high. So once you have that base like subset group, you can do a video and not even think about keywords if it's interesting and engaging and people find it, interesting enough to watch through, because YouTube looks at retention rate. They look at whether or not they're leaving the YouTube platform. They look at the engagement rate with likes and comments. They look at the subscription rate. They look at all of that to decide, oh, look, this audience likes it. That's a higher than average engagement rate. So we're going to go ahead and show this on the browse page for a similar audience. And if I go through and look at my analytics, and actually Sarah Crisp taught me this, who runs the channel Wholesale TED, it's a dropshipping YouTube channel. Because I asked her, I'm like, what's with the YouTube or what's with the SEO stuff? It's like sucking the life out of me. And she's like, I don't even do that. I'm like, what? And she's the one that said, she's like, people don't care about SEO, they care about exciting topics. And as a marketer, you're like, oh yeah, I know that. Like I know how to write headlines. I know how to create a hook. Why am I not applying this to my YouTube channel? And so once I did have that base level of followers, then I basically I'm honestly going to cancel my subscriptions to all my SEO tools that I use for YouTube, because all I focus on now is, okay, people want to learn about this topic. How can I make that sound exciting and interesting to people? And it's putting your marketing hat on, which is way more fun.
Yeah, no, that is very freeing. It's very, very freeing, because I hate it too. I've done keyword research, and usually what will come out is whatever keyword comes out. I don't want to talk about that. Like, I don't want to make a video about that. It's boring. So earlier you had mentioned that there was a strategy you were using, and then you changed it, and you saw your video views go up a lot.
You like that open loop?
Yeah, I like the open loop. I wrote it down right here. It says strategy change she made. So let's hear about that.
So I basically just touched on it, but that's what it was. Is I was just hammering the SEO train for a long time, and like I said, I started losing my steam, especially because I would see that when you look at the average performance, my videos were never beating my average. It was just sort of no matter what I did, like no matter how I tried to make it more engaging, you know, everyone says like, tell people to comment, tell people to like, and honestly, like there's what I found works best is just being real. So like, if it makes sense to say like, what do you guys think? Most people will answer you. But if you're like, by the way, click or leave a comment, like it just seems so, I don't know, it just seems so fabricated and so constructed. And so I'll give you this example. I have people ask about like finding your target audience. And so I did a video and I did my keyword research, and it was like the keyword was customer avatar exercise. Like shoot me in the head. Like I know it's important, but I did not want to talk about it in a way that was like, I mean, we all of us marketers know how important doing customer avatar exercise is, but I just felt like, oh my gosh, to talk about this, it's just going to be super boring. And I did it, and I did a video, and the title and the thumbnail was like customer avatar exercise. I said it like 19 times in the video because, that's SEO and Google wants that. And, again, it was one of those videos that just, it was okay. Like I was getting a few views, whatever. Then I go to this mastermind and I run into Sarah Crisp, who I mentioned earlier. And this is when I said to her, like, oh my gosh, like this is just really not fun. And I can't seem to hit that hockey stick growth that everyone talks about. Like, to give everyone like a point of reference, it took me 6 months to get 1,000 subscribers.
Oh, wow.
So it took me 6 months to get 1,000 subscribers. So if you think of 6 months and it's now been 11, let's say 11 months, I went from 1,000 to 18,500 subscribers in 5 months.
Whoa.
And so
that's cool.
In late October, I was talking to Sarah, and this is when I had the conversation with her about SEO and how important is it? And because I had been doing it religiously. And that's when she said, well, show me your last video. And I showed her, and she's a Kiwi. So she's like super direct, and like us Canadians, right? She's like, God, that sounds boring. I'm like, right? It's so boring. And so I actually went back because the video was still somewhat new. Like I think I published it a couple days earlier. And so YouTube really looks at what happens, like, especially in the first hour, then the 24 hours, then the week. And I thought, okay, maybe I can salvage this video. And I changed the thumbnail and the title to Why You Suck at Selling. And the video was the exact same. It was like, you suck at selling because you're not selling to the right people. And, it was all still legit. I wasn't trying to do like any funky bait and switch. I even said that in the video, I think, which is what gave me the idea for the hook. And all of a sudden you can see this little like, boop, like the analytics of the video went from being below average to now all of a sudden people were watching it. And I was like, oh my gosh. And like you said, so freeing when I could go back to the drawing board and be like, what do I want to talk about? Yeah. Or if someone asks me a question, I can then make a video that addresses the question, but it's so much more interesting than what people, a lot of other people do.
That's really it's cool to hear, because basically you're applying copywriting to your own copywriting YouTube channel, and all of a sudden that fixed all your problems, right?
Fixed all my problems.
So just take your own advice, Alex, and it solved all the problems. Totally. Very cool. Very cool. So let's I'm trying to debate if I want to throw this next. Yeah, I'll throw this next one into the next section. So basically when it comes to topics, you watch your videos, you watch to see what the audience is resonating with, but really in the end, and you watch your comments, you watch the user feedback, if you can do surveys or anything, what are people asking you for? But in the end, it's also, what do you want to talk about? And then you take that topic and you throw a copywriting behind it. You throw some hook behind it, something like, yeah, you're right. Why you suck at selling. I'd probably click that a lot sooner than something else, because, it conjures emotion. It conjures all kinds of things that match the copywriting rule. So for those of you who are wondering, gosh, what am I going to talk about? Just start talking. Right. Exactly. And this is what I tell students all the time. Like, just start talking. Like, just pick a topic. There's got to be something you like to talk about, and then just start making a video about it. And you know what? Maybe only you and your mom and your grandma watch the first video, and that's okay. Like, that's fine. I love
a market of 3 is better than a market of 0 because you never started, right?
They're your 3 biggest raving fans, so they might actually buy something just to support you. But Alex,
you probably experience that a lot. Sorry to interrupt. You probably experience that a lot, even like with with your podcast and stuff too. Like, you probably never think, what am I going to talk about on my podcast? Because every episode inspires something else, or you're scrolling through Facebook and you see something. I mean, I'm always like, I was listening to a Tim Ferriss interview yesterday and just walking to a cafe and I'm like, oh my God, I just came up with 3 new topic ideas for videos, you know?
So it's funny you mention that. So first of all, right before we started, right, you were like, hey, when's this going to get published? Is it like weeks out, months out? And I know my team would love it if I could get like weeks and weeks ahead. And I will get a little bit ahead, of course, to help them out. But it doesn't excite me. I like to be in the moment with this podcast. So typically I want to solve my problem right now. There's something in my head, something I'm thinking about, something that's going on. And rather than have a private phone call, like I know I could message you and say, Alex, can we get on a quick call and can you show me this or talk about this? And you would. But rather than do that, I'm like, gosh, I could drive a lot of value to you, bring awareness to your work and your channel and what you're doing while teaching our members. But I like to be in the moment. And so it's helped me a lot. And whenever I have gotten away from that, I have started not liking the podcast as much and fallen away from it. The other thing I want to say is like there's this whole rule, which I do abide by and I do believe in, but it's not one I'm enjoying much. And I have a feeling I'm going to break it soon. They say, have a set schedule, right? So like my podcast comes out every Monday morning. And I agree with that. There should be one episode at least, like, it's like everyone knows. But then beyond that, sometimes I have other things I want to talk about, but it's like a Thursday. And I think the rule I'm going to start applying, it's my podcast, my rules. Like if I want to just publish a random episode on Thursday, I'm going to publish a random episode. And you know what? Apple iTunes and YouTube will just deal with it. Like they'll have to, my users will dictate. Eventually, if my content is great and they hop on and watch, then in the end, that's all these platforms care about, right? They don't care about your publishing schedule. Really cool. I love it. It's very freeing. I love the fact that you said it took you 6 months. I didn't know that. 6 months to grow to 1,000. So those of you out there right now that are like, oh, it's not working, it's not this, it's not that. I mean, take it from a fighting entrepreneur right there. She didn't give up, right? In 6 months, she went out looking for solutions. She asked for help. She, was open and honest about it and said, it's not working. I don't like it. What should I do? And she was willing to take the constructive Kiwi feedback by Sarah of this sucks and not take it personally, but rather say, well, how do I fix it? And look at what happened. And then in 5 months, she got that hockey stick. So super awesome. If that's all you take away from everyone who's listening from this episode, like that was worth its weight in gold.
And there's one more thing too that's coming up for me that I want to share. And I want to share it because I've had a lot of people ask me similar things. Like, Alex, I've tried to grow my YouTube. I'm publishing a video a week and it's just not working. And a lot of the times it's direct response marketers who have a ton of video content. So they tell their team, I don't know, guys, just go take some video content and like publish it. Have you done that?
That's what I did like all of 2019.
So here is the thing. YouTube is like this living, breathing audience that wants your attention. And so you have to speak to them on their native platform where they're viewing your content. And so it doesn't mean you can't use old content, like pull it in, but you at least have to do an intro where you're like, hey guys, thanks for joining me here on my channel or whatever, because people want you to think like you're speaking to them. And if you're like, this is just a random video from something else. And here's the thing, like if you're as big as like, let's say Dan, you can totally do that, because if it's valuable, your audience is going to eat it up and it's going to be great. And I'll sometimes do that with Flight Club, like share clips and things like that. But you still want to make your audience feel special. And so I talk to my YouTube audience in a very particular way. And then I use Instagram as sort of a way to, like you were mentioning earlier, if you want to do something off the cuff or something off the regular schedule. If I have like status updates for my YouTubers, YouTube does now have YouTube stories if you get to a certain level, but I don't find the viewership very high, at least yet. Maybe it's because I'm not using it well yet, but I'll go to Instagram and say, like, guys, I'm having a mad like technical glitch here. Give me a hot second. The video will be a little bit late. And I'm just really transparent and open. And people are like, cool, that's awesome. Can't wait. Have notifications turned on. Can't wait to see your video. But my YouTube audience is its own,
Got it.
Its own breed.
Yeah, it was. I was laughing because I know that as again a copywriter, as someone who knows conversion, like I know that's not the right way to do it, and quality over quantity, which is why we are reshaping this year and doing it right. And I'm just like you. I'm very open and honest about it. Like I'm letting the students watch in and say, here's the mistakes I made. Now I'm going to change it, and you get to see if it works and how it works. But I'll share this funny story because I was talking about this with someone else. who's a YouTuber, and I was telling him what I do, and he goes, dude, that's like on Valentine's Day telling your wife to meet you at a certain restaurant and then sending someone in your stead and saying, what? You had dinner, didn't you? And I'm like, wow, that's a very I'm like, okay, that left a mark. I'm like, he's like, YouTube is your wife. You can't just send someone else to show up. Like, you got to show up for YouTube. Or
giving your wife a card that's like, Happy Valentine's Day, my love, Brad. You're like, what? It's a card. I just didn't write it. Yeah.
Written in your assistant's handwriting.
Yeah.
So
that's such a good example.
Yeah. So when he said that, I was like, okay, yeah, I get it. Like, if you want your audience to, so we'll sit here and be like, why aren't more people watching my videos? Well, do you love them enough to make videos for them? Right? Because like, if you show them love, they'll show you back the same love. So very, very awesome. All right. Well, let's move on to round number 4. And that is the video itself and publishing and all of that stuff. So round number 4, let's first talk about your videos. Do you do PowerPoints? Do you go into like screen share, instructional? Is it just you on camera? Do you do jump cuts? Like, talk us through, like, give us a visual of what your video's like.
Yeah, so my videos always start with a hook in the first few seconds. So I'll say, are you struggling to get clients? It's probably because you're following one of these 5 dangerous things, whatever, keep watching to learn what they are. So a hook that's ear catching, and that really gets people being like, oh my gosh, yes, I have to watch this video. Then I go into my bumper, which is just like fun, short, but more of an authority piece than anything else. I have clips of me speaking on stage, that sort of thing. And then I go into the content, and it's always mostly me. When I record, it's just me talking to a video. I have done screen shares before, and in fact, some of the best engagement videos I have is if there is something that's very instructional. I'll basically be talking to the camera, and I'll talk about it. I'll say, okay, now join me over here on my computer, and then I'll film that part after, but then I'll come back and go, okay, now going on to step 2 or whatever. So there are times that I'll cut to doing a screen flow. And the beauty of it is I use like a little lav mic, right, that just plugs into my phone. And so that I use to record everything, whether I'm doing a screen share or front to video, so that the audio quality is the exact same. Because when sometimes it's all of a sudden like, okay guys, now here I am at my computer, and like the whole audio situation's all over the place. Yeah. So that's something that I do, but I don't typically do a lot of screen sharing unless it really requires something that's very instructional.
What about your editing? Do you do a lot of like the jump cuts and skipping around, or is it just roll one and only in case you make a mistake?
I try to mix it up this is like an unwritten rule. I don't know where I heard this, maybe from one of my YouTube friends, like Sarah or Sunny, but like to mix it up every 15 seconds.
Okay. Or
else people get bored. So luckily I probably do mess up every 15 seconds. So the cut is sort of natural, and you pan in and then pan back out or whatever. But if I'd say I'm just like going and I'm not making any mistakes, my editor will still, cut, pan in, and then pan out. And a lot of people use stock footage. Mm-hmm. I'll use like different GIFs and things like that. That's, I don't want to necessarily tell people to use GIFs because I don't quite know how those work with copyright law. I mean, I've researched it and they seem to fall under the meme category, which is sort of common, common use, but that could change. So, but you can get, stock video if you're trying to make a point. I also do a lot of B-roll. So I have, my iPhone, like we all do. And I'll quite often, if I'm sitting at a cafe, I'll just do like a quick pan, see my computer, whatever. Like you just build up a library of B-roll so that anytime, especially it's so easy when you're talking about something like copywriting, anytime you're on your computer, it's an opportunity to get like some B-roll. Yeah. And then you can pop that in. It's good to mix it up. And so I just sort of have a Google Drive folder with all of that in there. And then my video editor just sort of picks from it. Or if I have a thought, I'll say, oh, add some of this B-roll into that, what have you.
So how are you filming? Because you have a video editor who's doing this for you. Are you filming on multiple cameras? Are you filming on your iPhone? Like what level of equipment do you have?
Yeah, so I have a Canon 5D, what is it? I can see it right here. 5D Mark 4.
Yeah. Nice camera.
Yeah, which is a nice camera. But before, I didn't start with that. Where's my other cameras around here? I started with like just a really simple Canon Rebel.
Okay.
And only one camera. So I set it up on a tripod. I ordered 2 lights from Amazon.
Yeah.
Like just a really simple, maybe, I don't know, like it was like $150 for 2. I got a ring light, and then I decided I didn't really like using it because it was almost like a bit too intense, and you could, you could see like the white rings in your eyes, and I'll use that as like backlighting.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then I have my little lav mic that again I got on Amazon that plugs right into my phone, and I use an app called Video Record, and that essentially allows me to record the audio. So I have it all set up in my studio. I turn on my video camera. I have a little X on the floor where I put my chair time, so I know that's good. I start recording on my lav, and then I clap, and then I do my video, and then I send my video editor just the video file and the audio file, and he does the rest.
That's awesome. Keep it simple. That's another thing. People think that you've got to have ridiculous equipment and all. Like, here I do. So some people think that this is the kind of equipment you need. You don't. Right. I'm just a video geek. People don't realize I love AV. And so we have a bunch of toys that we play with, but they're not necessary. And sometimes, to be very honest with you, they get in the way. And they actually take away. I've found that some of my best videos are like selfie videos on an iPhone because it's personal. People again, it goes back to people want to be talked to personally and not have like a professional corporate. They don't want to watch a news channel, right? They can do that.
Absolutely. I have this gimbal too, which is so cool. If I'm ever doing B-roll, I don't know if you've seen these DJI Osmo.
Yeah.
And they just keep like super smooth for getting any sort of B-roll. I'll do videos sometimes where I'm walking down the street, and because you're holding this, it's just super smooth. But again, I totally agree. I think and I know because I was there, it's so easy to overanalyze it and think you need all the fancy stuff. And because my production is so professional with my video editor, but when I say professional, I don't mean like I'm paying him $1 million. Like, he's very reasonably priced, and it's easy enough to find video editors on freelancing sites or whatever. But having good lighting and having an editor who, like with the jump edits, he'll edit things quickly so that there's not long gaps between ideas. But if you go to my channel and watch my videos, you'll see it's not over the top. I'm not like, one of those entertainment YouTubers.
A lot of people might be wondering, so let's throw this out there. Her channel, correct me if I'm wrong, but just go to YouTube and type in Alex, and then your last name is spelled Cattoni.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Right? So guys, just go to YouTube, type in Alex, Cattoni, and subscribe. It's an awesome channel. She's got great content, and she makes it fun too, which is a challenge. To make copywriting fun is not everyone's cup of tea. So that's definitely awesome. Okay, so let's keep talking about the video itself. So we talked about the actual video recording, the editing process. How long do you prepare for them, and like how long are your videos? Like, if you're going to do a video, is it like a whole one day, like, oh my God, clear my schedule, I got to do a video for YouTube, or is it?
No, I got it down to with setting up the lights and everything like that. I usually do record in batches, like I'll record 2 to 3 videos at a time. And that's just because, you gotta like do your hair and all that stuff. But I'm able to produce, like, fully record a video in 30 minutes. And so that gives me time to set everything up. And obviously if I'm doing 2 or 3 at a time, then it's even less than 30 minutes per video. And so I will do, let's say, like on a Friday afternoon, I'll do 3 videos, and that's the next 3 weeks worth of content. But it only takes an hour and 90 minutes to do.
What about like the note-taking part? Like, is it, let's go back to why you suck at selling. So you're like, I want to do a video on that topic. Are you going to just sit down quickly and write down 3 or 4 points and then just go? Or are you like writing a script? Like, how are you doing it?
Yeah, I do write a script, a pretty full-on script. But I also have a team that supports me. So because I have writers that work for me, I'll come up with a topic and the rough framework. Like, I'll say, okay, I want to do customer avatar exercise. I want to talk about this. And then I will come up with a framework. One of my writers will sort of help me flush it out. And then what I get my team to do is also research. So a lot of times people on YouTube, like, They really want examples. That is the YouTube audience. I saw something the other day on social media. It was talking about the different needs of different social channels, and YouTubers want to be shown. And so anytime I need an example, I can get my team to go, help me find an example of a B2B brand that's doing this or whatever. And they'll compile sort of screenshots and things like that. So there is a little bit more prep, but in the beginning it was no one except me. And so it would take me maybe 30 minutes to an hour to draft up a video script. When it's something so well, it's sort of second nature, and then you want to do some research just to make sure you're giving.
So are you reading? Like, are you reading a teleprompter when you do your videos?
Some yes, some no. Okay. So I actually have so it depends. If it's more of a personal video, I don't need to. It's like I don't need something to remind me of my story. But if it's a super instructional video where I'm like sharing a lot of quotes or examples, or oftentimes let's say give an example where I share a screenshot of a company with a great headline, and I'll put it in a script so that I can read the headline exactly as it's written. And I have a teleprompter. I actually have it right over here. It's called the Parrot, and it comes with a bunch of different sized rings that screw on to any size of SLR camera that you have. And then it has this little slide down thing like this. And there's an app that goes with it called the Parrot Teleprompter app. And your phone sits just in there. Wow. And it projects up the script. So, and then I have a remote somewhere as well. So even if it's not the full script, which is, typically I'll just have points or whatever, but it's all there on the teleprompter so that in my hand, I'm just moving the remote down to the next point and then I'll riff on that or whatever.
Wow. Cool. Yeah. What's it called?
It's called Parrot, like the bird, Parrot.
Man, I'm going to geek out again. Some money's
going out. Yeah, you can go to Amazon and just type in like Parrot Teleprompter plus remote, and you can just like get the bundle and then you download the app and it's free.
I'm going to buy like 7 just because that sounds cool. That's awesome. All right. So very cool. So again, some of you have like fright of being in front of cameras and you think, well, I'm going to forget what I have to say. Well, there's the Parrot to help you out. And so you can have all of this stuff written out before. And even then, it doesn't take that much time. Alex, how long are your videos roughly? What have you found to be the length that seems to work the best?
I haven't tested length. All of my videos somehow end up magically between like 8 and 11 minutes. I don't know if it's now because I've done it so many times that it's just, I don't know. When I'm done, I'm like, okay, I think the whole video file, I never know because the whole video file say maybe be 20 minutes, but to take into account me messing up and stopping and checking my notes or whatever. But then when I get the video back to my video editor, I'm like, oh, there it is, between like 7 and 11 minutes or 8 and 11 minutes. So I think I've heard people say that that's good, but again, I don't know, just try it. I think it's people do look at, or YouTube does look at retention. So super short videos can be bad if people are only watching for 2 minutes because your video is only 2 minutes. I think YouTube will take that into account. If you have longer videos, people are watching longer, that's a good thing. But at the end of the day, another thing with the YouTube audience is like they are impatient. So, if I ever have a video with an intro that's too long, they're going to tell me. Like, they'll tell me exactly, like, when I needed to stop talking. And so they're all about, like, give me the points, show me what I need to know. Don't do a lot of, like, my intros, what's ironic is my video with the highest amount of viewers to subscribers to viewer rate has one of the longest intros out of all of them, but it also has the most comments of people saying, get to the freaking point. So, you have to just sort of go with what feels right. And that's what I did in that video is I was telling my story in the beginning. And so I think that indoctrination really got people like, wow, I'm bought into what she's saying. And they were more forgiving and they subscribed, even though there are still those impatient people who were like, literally stop talking right now. But you don't want to do a lot of like too much intro or too much closing. Like at the end of your video, you don't want to be like, okay, so let's recap those 5 things, because what is everyone going to do? Great, video's over, next. So you want to try to keep people watching to the very end. So when I finish the 5th point, I go, okay, now I have one more really amazing thing that you need to learn, and you can check that out in my video on how to da-da-da. You can watch that right here. Thank you so much for watching and subscribing, and I will see you next time. Until then, I'm Alex. Ciao for now. Done. Like, that is my close. So you want people to be like, oh, it's done. Because if you watch to the end and then it goes to the next video, YouTube is like, ding, 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 ding. Wow, they watched the entire video. We're going to give her more whatever it's called.
I like that.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, awesome. Now, so we talked about 8 to 11 minutes. We talked about the editing structure. Your thumbnails. There's definitely something going on with your thumbnails. There's a theme. You've got goofy faces, shock looks, and same type of, look and feel. What's going on? What's the secret strategy there that people need to know?
I think the biggest one is your thumbnail title should not be the same as your YouTube title. It should be eye-catching and easy to read. Okay. So I've changed my strategy a bit because I feel like I used to put too much text on my thumbnails. Like I would try to make it like a whole statement or something. And then, to do that, you need smaller text and then it's harder to read. So, I've really simplified my thumbnails, which I think has helped. I was split testing my thumbnails for a while just because I'm a marketer and I love to know what works and what doesn't. And so I was using TubeBuddy to split test my thumbnails, which was just interesting data to see. But I feel like I was starting to figure it out, and then I would do that, and then I would test it, and then that one didn't work. And so I've stopped doing that, and instead I'm just like, okay, what do I think is the most interesting hook about this video? How can I say that in as few words as possible, which is like the biggest copywriting lessons of all. And then sometimes it doesn't even have to make sense. Like it could just be like a word with a question mark, or, if the video is about money, like put money in the title. Like all those things that we know as marketers is going to garner interest. I like to put little graphics and stuff too, if I think it's going to catch attention, like emojis and things like that. But I don't overdo it. I try to mix it up. I try to make sure the face matches, like my face matches what's on the thumbnail. So if I'm saying something like what not to do, like I just did a video on like how to not get clients, I think it was, and my face was like, like that. So, I just kind of go with my intuition on it. There's a lot of people who talk about optimizing for thumbnails, and I don't feel like I've necessarily cracked the code, but you can test it, and there's tools out there that let you do that.
Awesome. All right. So in the publishing cycle, what are some things I heard you mention, like on Instagram, if you're like running a few minutes late, you'll post like, sorry, having a technical glitch. So it looks like you were very devoted to a certain date, time, or day of the week time that you do publish every week. Is that something you suggest?
Yeah, I think similar to what you were saying earlier, like I think consistency is good in the sense that, one, it's easier for you to plan your schedule when you just kind of know what's up. Like if someone's trying to schedule a call with me on Wednesdays at 9 a.m., I'm like, no, sorry, that's like my publishing hour. Yeah. I think people get used to it. Like I get comments all the time, can't wait for Wednesday, so excited for Wednesday. And people just sort of get more familiar with the day, especially because my YouTube banner says new episodes every Wednesday. Time, I would say before you commit to a time, just look to see what your insights say, because after you publish a few videos, it'll actually tell you it'll tell you day of the week too, to be honest. Like my insights say that most of my engagement happens on Thursdays, which is interesting because I publish on Wednesdays, and I'm like, should I be changing it? But you could mix it up, try a few different things, and then see when your audience is online and when they're engaging with you the most, and then try to take advantage of that and say publish 1 hour before that, because it'll be very specific. It'll say Thursdays between 9 and 11 or something like that, I think is mine.
Got it. Okay, perfect. And then last but not least, about publishing, when you're actually in the YouTube system, publishing the video, writing the description, there's keywords, there's all those little knickknacks. Do you have anything in specific that you really look out for to make sure, you make the YouTube gods happy, like keyword stuffing or any of that? Or do you just write a good description?
I don't really use keywords anymore at all.
Yeah.
I'll have the title, right, which is obviously, to take more time to think about that. And then I'll start the description with an alternate title, which is like, oftentimes it's like I can't decide which one's better, but because there's a couple of lines of your description that will show above the fold. So let's say the title is, and if you go check out my last couple of videos, you'll see exactly this. It'll say, my last video I think was like how to have 5 awkward reasons they ignore you was the title. Which you can tell, like it's such a hook, like who's they, what are you talking about, right? But then the sub, I call it the sub headline, but it's really just the first line in my description is, here are 5 5 things you should definitely not do if you want clients and how to fix it. So it's a little bit longer. And then I have a call to action. And I didn't have this in the beginning, so I think you need to be careful with putting calls to action too often, because again, YouTube will penalize you if you're sending traffic off the site. And so sometimes the call to action will just be to subscribe. And then sometimes I'll have a link to, especially if I mention like my program or anything in the video, then I want that link to be really visible. I'll put that under the sub headline and say, you want to ignite your copywriting business, click here. And then I go into a brief description about the video, which is usually just taken from some of my notes that I have on the video, tighten it up a bit. And then I also have a why subscribe, which is just sort of telling people why to subscribe, because oftentimes in YouTube videos, people will be like, and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss my next video. But if that's the first video someone's seeing of you, they're like, what does she talk about? Oh, this is the channel about copywriting. Oh, I think a lot of people think that people are finding you by going to your channel page, but very few people just go to your channel page. So I have a little why subscribe. Hey, every single week I release a new video, tutorial for copywriters and aspiring copywriters, and I share blah, 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 blah. And then I have my social links, and then I have 3 hashtags, because I don't know if you've noticed that some videos on YouTube will have hashtags above them. Mm-hmm. It just basically takes the first 3 hashtags from your description. Okay. So you don't have to put them at the end. I just do, because it doesn't matter. So I just put, copywriting, how to get clients, like whatever the video is actually about. I mix it up every time. Yep. And that's basically my description.
That's awesome. All right. Well, listen, I really only have one more question, and we don't need to do a whole nother round about it. You've been awesome, by the way, Alex. Thank you so much for staying in here with us for a whole hour. Once your video is published, do you go out of your way to do any promotion to it? Like, for example, the video that has 100,000 views, have you run ads to it? Have you, or is it just published and thank you very much, I'm out, I'll do the next one now?
Yeah. So I think I've once boosted, like on Facebook, one of my video posts, like for $20. That's the only ad spend I've ever spent on promoting my channel. So I publish it, and then immediately after, like, literally I set up my email to my list, and the list I only grew from YouTube, by the way. So like I didn't grow my channel through any sort of list promotion at all. I grew my list purely through my YouTube channel. And then once it got to be, more than, 10 people, then I would email my list every single week with a new video. And because YouTube really pays attention to that first hour, I basically will set up the email. I'll send a test email. I'll get it, making sure it's like basically all I have to do is push the send button. Then I'll go publish my video. Then I'll go back and immediately send the email. Okay. Then I'll go and I'll post it on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram.
Okay.
So yeah, just the usual. Like I'm not doing anything crazy. I'm just like, hey, new video. And I don't even publish it on my personal Facebook anymore or my personal Instagram. In the beginning I did, especially probably the first one you saw. Yeah. Obviously it was like, oh, hey guys, guess what? I started a YouTube channel. Please help me and go like and subscribe. And that first video, I shared, and then I shared a few more. But now I only do it through my Copy Posse, which is the name of my channel, and community, but share it through the Instagram and all of that. So yeah, I mean, that's it. Nothing crazy. Don't promote, don't do ads. Maybe I will one day, but.
Yeah. That is absolutely awesome. Wow. Well, listen, for those of you that are listening or watching right now, you've got to go follow her. Not just what we talked about today, but just her copywriting stuff. Her channel is awesome. So go to YouTube, type in Alex Cattoni, Alex, and then last name is Cattoni. Where else can people find you, Alex? Where else, like what website, URL, they want more?
Yeah, so my website is just my name, alexcattoni.com, and my Instagram is Copy Posse, so COPYPOSSE, and that's where I kind of share everything in addition to my YouTube channel. But I'll do Instagram lives, and I publish a lot of content on Instagram that's not on YouTube as well. So
it's awesome. Copy Posse. I feel like if I try to say that 10 times faster. Copy Posse. But I like that. It's very, very, very catchy. And I saw that on the top on your YouTube banner as well. listen, if you're looking to engage with someone, and if you're listening, I hope her program is still open. Get into her copywriting training, because again, you'll see when you go watch her videos, they're absolutely amazing. I also want to do a shout out because it's one of my favorite groups on Facebook, but I don't know if you want to tell anyone how they can get into your entrepreneurial travel hack group. It's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. As you said, I'm a huge fan of travel and have spent many of my years as being an entrepreneur, traveling and on the road, and really realize that us entrepreneurs tend to travel differently than the average person. And so, my friend Leanne and I started a Facebook group called Travel Hacks for Entrepreneurs. If you go to, I think, facebook.com/groups/entrepreneurs love travel, you'll come to the group. You can request to join. And of course, if you just write in one of the questions that you heard me on the Anik podcast and you're in like Sin. And it's fun. We just share advice and tips and hacks and strategies and all of that, all to do with traveling, for entrepreneurs.
Yeah, it's a great group. And that's another one where I saw her start the group, and I was probably one of the first 100 people, because I was like, I'm in. This is awesome.
I love it.
What's it up to now? It's growing.
We have like 1,600 members, I think, in there.
I think you've got this social thing down, Alex. Like anything you do is just starting to socially get big. That's awesome. Connect with Alex, everybody.
Let's hope.
What's that? Yeah, no, it's great. I've seen what you guys are doing in there, and it's really good. I really, really suggest everybody in Lurn Nation connect with Alex. And after we're done with this, I'm going to try to twist her arm into doing some more training for Lurn Nation. So not to put the spotlight on her, but hopefully we'll get her more involved. Thank you so much, Alex. It's been, as always, a pleasure. You're just doing great things. I really look forward to following more and seeing your channel grow a lot faster. I also really look forward to copying everything you're doing and showing you my results on my side as well.
Perfect case study. Thank you so much for having me. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, you got it. All right, everybody, there you go. You heard it. Go to lurn.com. Make sure you subscribe to our podcast. Make sure you're a member of Lurn.com. This is Anik Singal reminding you, when life pushes you, stand straight, smile, and push it the heck back. Come on, entrepreneurs. Keep fighting for your dreams. Until next time. See you then.
Thanks for listening to The Fighting Entrepreneur with your host, Anik Singal.